Good morning, everyone. Let me get this better adjusted. Okay. Today I have to call and confirm my move to the new campsite, an old campsite for us. It's a week away, and I will be there for the month of November. It's cold, so I have to go gather up my winter clothing. I'm still using gloves here in the morning because it's early. The sun's not up yet, and it's cool. I'm still not in frame yet. Tilted. Okay, we get this right. I am drinking my green tea. You can see the steam coming off of it. That's an indication of the temperature of the tea and the air. Okay. My last video, sometimes we just have to make a video. Sometimes we have to write a letter. You know, if you're mad at somebody, I'm still picky on this. Write them a letter and tell them just how mad you are. Don't mail it. Rip it up so it doesn't get accidentally mailed. But write down your frustrations. What is this, a school bus? Nope. That's a gigantic tow truck for towing big rigs. Okay. I don't think I'm going to have noise like this when I get moved because I'm not near a major road, but I will have people coming in and out of the park. The rest of the winter, I'm assuming, as we're still here, will be quieter. There won't be as many people that endure the weather. I don't mind it. I may be wrapped up and you may just see my eyes sticking out of my mask, but I'll be out in whatever the weather is. It doesn't bother me. Continue to pray for my son. We're still having some issues that we got to get resolved. And God's controlling things. I know He is. But sometimes you have to endure what God puts you through because you're in need of it. All right. We're still waiting. As I've said, I don't remember if I said it in my last video or the one that actually was aired, but I'm not sure about October 31st. If we're going to stay in Revelation 12, the war has to end for Satan to come and try to kill or capture the child. So as long as the war is going on, I don't think that that's it. But again, things are continuing to progress in the way the Revelation says it's going to. So we have a rapture coming soon. It's getting closer. It may be this weekend. But like my comment also was that it says in the days of Noah. Days is plural. Now what days of Noah? The 800 years, 700 years before? Or just the time of when he closed the door on the ark? That's more practical, but we don't know. Some things we have to guess. The general meaning is that the world was in chaos, not following God, and that's all you have to take from it. But when you're trying to line up dates, you have to make assumptions. Dangerous. Okay, so anyhow, while we're waiting, people that we're having to deal with are becoming more and more combative, unpleasant, and just unreachable perceptively. Everyone's reachable through God, so we just have to keep doing it. But don't exhaust all your effort on people that are being that way. That's why the disciples, when they were told to go out and preach the word, go into a house. If they receive you, stay for a few days. Bless the house on the way out. If not, wipe the dust from your feet as you leave and don't look back. We can't judge people. That's the hard part. Leave it to God. Always be in conversation with God whenever you're doing anything. But you do your best, and then you move on. Okay, I'm going to read out of James today. Very practical writer. I'm going to read the commentary first. The commentary states, James wrote to an audience of Christians enduring tribulation. Not the tribulation. Tribulation has been throughout the Bible. His letter indicates most were poor and facing persecution. Doubtless some in their trouble came from others. Their trouble came from others and was beyond their control. It wasn't their fault. So much of what's going on now, there's nothing our fault, but we have to live with it, deal with it, live within it, work within it. But in this case, James' readers were experiencing conflict of their own making. They were letting their desire for pleasure and lust and material things lead to fighting. We're told to rebuke fellow Christians, but properly, if they're doing something that's wrong. But you don't go beyond that. At the heart of their conflict was the sin of pride. See, you were thinking sexual or something else, but pride. Pride is a very dangerous thing, but it's also prideful to judge somebody with pride. So you have to be careful. At the heart of their conflict was the sin of pride. Pride is the basis of entitlement and selfishness. I've healed more people than you have. I've given out more tracts than you have. I'm better than you. A little buzzer goes off. James' solution comes, submit to God. It gives the verses, but I'll cover that in a second. Submit to God, draw near to God, cleanse your hands, purify your hearts, you double-minded people. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. It's a very practical application. So we're going to start reading in James. I'm going to read at starting in 5:7, so I can mark it down below. I put the scriptures down below, even though I tell you what they are, because you should be able to stop it, read it, pull open your Bible, and read with me. This is a Bible study sometimes. I'm not preaching, I'm teaching, and you have your active part of that. Therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. If you're being tempted, resist him. Satan, get behind me in the name of Jesus. There's no argument. You can't resist that. Again, too many times Satan has tried to make himself equal to God. That's Satan. I can't reach high enough to get to God. He's an itty-bitty thing. He's pretty much like us. He has powers because he knows how to use them. We have powers, but we don't know how to use them. So on earth, we don't want to fight Satan. This is not a physical war, but he will flee. Lament and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord. He will lift you up. So if your pride's too high, you better lower yourself down and let God lift you back up. Don't you try to lift yourself up. Lower yourself down, be humble, and God will lift you up where you need to be. That way it's not your doing. It's nothing that you can be proud of yourself. If you're going to be proud of anything, like Paul said, be proud of God and what he has done. Be proud of Jesus and what he has done. Now to 5:11. Do not speak evil of one another, brethren. He who speaks evil of a brother and judges his brother speaks evil of the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is only one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you to judge one another? We don't know enough to come to conclusions. The only conclusions we can come to is what's in black and white, or in this version, red. Anything else is just, a lot of it is our conclusion. Some things God was not clear about. It wasn't important. How much detail do we have in Genesis for those 6 days? He didn't say, I grabbed up all the protons and neutrons and I stuck them together, and he didn't get to that detail. The people back then couldn't even read and write. The only reason we have it written down is it was written down afterwards. They had an oral law back then. People memorized things. I love talking about all this stuff, but it is possible. If you've seen the movie Fahrenheit 451, to keep the books alive, because they were burning books. Nazis burn books. People that don't want you to know the truth will burn books. They burn Bibles. That's why we don't have a first century Bible. They burned them all. People manage to keep pages, but they don't have a complete document. But these people in that movie, written about their time, 60s and 70s, 60s primarily for this, they memorized these books. Cover to cover, they memorized them. That was their life. This is Tolstoy. This is, in whatever the book was. People would memorize them, and that was their job. And that was how they would introduce themselves. Hi, I'm the Tale of Two Cities. And of course, reading and learning about the great masters back then. We've got other masters since. The ones that seem to get all the attention are the ones that have fictional characters, trying to distract ourselves from the time. Don't judge lest you be judged. Another reference to not judging. Be careful. Never assume. And I won't go into this spelling of assume. We have a very simple job to do. My job is even simpler than our other teachers and preachers that are out there. My job is just to tell you that we're in the end times. Most of you already know that. Another nut fallen from the tree. I have not been hit on the head yet, but they're all over the deck. I've already brushed them off. Well, there's a couple here I didn't brush off. Yeah, I hear that all day. Sometimes they hit the metal on the vents on the roof. You can't hear them when they hit the roof inside because the roof is too dampening, but I'm looking at the roof and it looks like it might need replacement in another 5 to 6 years. And I don't think the homeowner has the money. We're not going to be here, so I'm not even going to bring it up. We're still looking at this year, 2023, but we've still got a couple months to go. If we're wrong, and it's next year, it's the same timeline, just shifted a year. We know the events that are coming in Revelation. We just don't know the start. We can back ourselves up. We can go to the end and back ourselves up. We can calculate a timeline from the end. We just don't have a start. So the start date, if you put it in a spreadsheet, you can make that start date. You put the number in the start date and everything will adjust in the spreadsheet. That's why you have spreadsheets. They're cool for that. Now, I still like to listen to Barry Ahn. I still like to listen to Brenda Weltner. I don't agree or don't know enough to disagree with their findings. They spent far too much effort into analyzing. And for, like I said, my message is very simple. Repent, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. How long did John the Baptist teach? And then he was beheaded. He didn't get the chance to walk around with Jesus. He got to meet him, of course, because he baptized him. But then he was done. At some point, my job will be done. But like I said, God said, you're filming. I want to see the launch sequence when you go up into the clouds. Just be filming downwards. So that's how long I'm supposed to do this, until the end. Well, that's my understanding. He may have told me that just so that I would stop asking when is the date. Any of us could die at any moment. I'm almost 70, so, I've gotten good use of this body, but it's wearing out. I want a new one. I want patience, and I want it now. There's nothing that we do or know or have that God hasn't already dealt with a million times. So he's good at it. Trust him. Besides, our entire life was part of the original design. You understand that? God laid out our entire life. So he knows what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. How we're going to do it. When we're going to listen and when we're not. And he's got a solution for every problem along the line. Trust him. He will be forthcoming in his time. But if we need something, if something comes up and we absolutely need it, he promised to take care of our needs. So just know that it's going to be there when you need it. If you don't have it, then you don't need it. But patience comes from trusting God. And if you don't have enough patience, he may give it to you a little later than normal. I play games with God because I talk to him all the time. We have fun. Something will come up. I need $100 by Friday. I haven't got it. I'm just making numbers up. I don't need anything. If you want to send money, that's fine, but I'm not asking for it. I'm giving you an example. But if I need $100 on Friday and I don't have it, and I need it by 2 o'clock, it might be 1:59 before I get it, but I'll get it. We play these little, how close can I get games? You just got to wait on the Lord. Ask, because you have to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. Ask. Ask for anything. If you need it, you will get it. If you don't, you won't get it. God may give it to you out of his loving kindness, but not because you need it. Don't get used to it. We get gifts. We give gifts during the year. We have Christmas coming up. We give gifts. Don't expect a new car. Expect new socks and underwear. That's what I get at my age. But don't expect. If you want to put $1 or $2 in the lottery just because it's there, fine. I wouldn't put more than that. Just to play a game, but it's not, the odds of you getting it, of winning a lottery of any kind, is so great that you would put all of your money into it your entire life and never win anything. The odds are better for that than you winning one time. I grew up in Reno, Nevada, so I know what gaming is. There's not a whole lot when I was living there that you could do outside of working in the gaming industry. Now they've got other jobs there, but the majority of the jobs were in gaming, and they paid well. So I worked in that area when I was there. I also work for a communication company, so there is other work. However, there's no gambling involved. The odds are in their favor. The minute you walk in the door, just hand them your wallet and continue on and go eat the free lunch. It's free because somebody paid for it. They usually have good restaurants. I used to love going to one of the casinos because they had a seafood buffet and good stuff. You know, not stuff you'd go to the market and buy. Good seafood. It was originally free, but I think they started charging like $6 or $7 for it when I left. It was a $50 meal if you ate from the buffet properly. You know, if you went and made one plate, maybe it's a $12 meal, and you got for half price. Everything's got a gimmick to it, and nothing's free except salvation. That's the only thing that you can invest in, $0, and get a 100% gain. Nothing else in this world will do that. Trying to convince people is difficult. One, the people of the world are being confused. God's allowing their minds to confuse themselves. He's not doing it, but he's allowing Satan to. More stuff falling down. So this is Satan's doing. You can't battle any of these people with anything other than the Spirit of God. If you try to go after them physically, it won't work. Take somebody who won't listen and pin them to the wall and read the scriptures to them. It won't work. Hit them over the head with a 20-pound family Bible. It won't work. They have to be prepared. The Spirit of God has to get them ready to hear the Word of God. Otherwise, the seed falls on dry, rocky ground, and it will never grow. If the soil is sort of okay, it can grow for a little bit, and it may give them some memories that when they get to that right point where they're willing to receive God, those memories will come back, and they remember how good it felt. Then you may be able to talk to them. When they're at their absolute wit's end and there's nothing more they can do for themselves, only God can solve the problem. That's when you can talk to them. Don't be surprised that there will be less and less people want to hear up to the rapture. Then as things get bad, more people will be ready to hear the word. But we won't be here. You have to prepare those that are going to go through the rapture because they wouldn't commit. Prepare them for what's coming ahead. Because they will have to accept Christ, and then they will have to reach out. Now, God has taken that into consideration, that there won't be any experienced preachers down here. Not ones that are proper preachers. On the fringes, you're going to have all kinds of ideas, but they're not going to be scriptural, and they won't be Christians. But after we're gone, God's going to prepare the 144,000 for the chosen people, which are the Jews. And they will take the message to the rest of the world along with the angels. The message is going to go out after we're gone. But we only have to prepare people to take this first ride. Their life will be better even if it's only a day or two until the rapture. Their life will be better for that day or two, so don't give up. Okay, this one should pass the censors. I shouldn't have any problem with it. My last video was just one of those venting ones that I needed to get all that out. And then I couldn't post it. I tried to go back and edit it, going, okay, this is where they didn't like, this is where they didn't like. And it was just, well, hello, I can't. It was just too choppy. And so-and-so, and he was really, oh, I can't put that in there. Continue to pray for me in this ministry. It's sometimes difficult. I still need financial aid from time to time. I'm not going to be able to set my satellite up initially because I don't have the $150 a month that it takes to turn that thing on. I've just started getting payments from YouTube again. Because for a while there, I was getting $8 a month. If you're not at 100, they don't give you anything. You have to get to 100 before they pay you. At one point in time, I was making about 140 to 150. It covered the internet. I've got some of you that have been loyal that stayed on PayPal, and I appreciate it. I'm not using it the way I need to, but I don't have time. It's something I can't be distracted. I have to keep these videos coming. I'm already down to every other day. Because where I'm at, my environment is just, it's hard to get alone long enough to be able to get these messages. So God put me back where I can do it every other day. And this one was late, because I didn't try to post it until like midnight for 6 a.m. this morning. It's late, so I'm going to end up putting this up. I don't know what time it is. It's going to be like 9 o'clock by the time I get it uploaded, maybe 10, I don't know. We'll see how much editing issues I have in posting. You never know. God willing, this will be up here in a little bit. Thank you for supporting this ministry and for praying for me. Thank you for praying for my son. Things will work out until we get out of here. Continue prepping. I've covered all this stuff in my videos in the past. Go back and watch them. Now my early videos, I probably wasn't very good at covering topics properly. I tried to do it on my own. No, God was there, but I did it in my studio when I had a place. I don't do well in 4 walls. I do well in 4 tent walls. I do better when I'm outside in nature and let you see nature. You can see the leaves are changing behind me. And eventually, if I were still here, I'm only going to be here another week. If I were still here, these leaves would be gone. And it would look like a barren wasteland back there. There'd be the sticks sticking up in the ground, the big round ones, but there'd be nothing on them for color. I don't know what our new earth is going to look like. I would hope like the first one, green everywhere all year. I used to snow ski, but I could do without that. And the only reason we have mountains is the earth has been tilted, and our plate movement, which we didn't know about early on, the plate movement is causing mountains. We know a lot more than when we first started writing about our history. When we learn enough, we will find that science and God are pretty much in alignment. If they differ, the understanding of one or the other or both is wrong. That's why we got to be acceptable to what people believe. And anything that God has done, Satan has tried to corrupt it. We didn't evolve out of the sea, but evolution is involved, but it's God-controlled. Any changes you see is all God-controlled. Here they go. That was God-controlled. All right. That's all I have for this morning. I'll go get this posted as quick as possible. I don't know how much time we got. I really don't. It could still be any time. It doesn't have to fall on Halloween. Satan may decide to do something of his own on Halloween, unrelated to anything that we're looking for in our escape. I guess I better get inside. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.